So hi there again everyone, this is again Alan and welcome to my channel. Today I have decided to go back to our floral studies, and for our floral study number 3, I have decided to follow one of our subscribers, Nörtâp Dyólf's suggestions, which is for me to paint an Egyptian lotus or a blue lotus with the scientific name Nymphaea caerulea. Nymphaea means the genus of a water plant, while caerulea came from the Latin word ceruleum, which means heavens or skies. Okay, I did my research. This plant or this flower is actually very sacred during the ancient times in Egypt and in some other religions, and that's all I know. I did not research that much, but I often see this plant or this flower in temples or in fountains anywhere, especially here in the Philippines or even in any country in Southeast Asia. So without further ado, I am going to be showing you our finished painting, and I'm going to be showing my process in 3, 2, 1. For my floral studies, of course, I'm using again my Phoenix pad, and this is my first and this is my second, and now we're on our third, and I'm using m.graham watercolor this time. I got most of my m.graham paints at Art Nebula PH, but some of these are from Jerry's Artarama in New York. I asked my sister to get me some tubes when she was there for a tour, so I got these around 43 or 42 tubes. And for the study, I am using 6 colors, and they are Indian Yellow, Quinacridone Rose, Dioxazine Purple, Cerulean Blue Deep, Hooker's Green, and Turquoise. I believe these 6 colors are more than enough, and I don't want to be challenging myself too much this time in making mixes. Now I'm putting down our colors in our palette and having them prepared for our swatches. So now let's do our swatches. For our reference photo, I am using this image taken by Aravind Sivaraj that I found in Wikipedia, but I didn't totally copy his image. I adjusted a bit the arrangement, and I added a bud of lotus or water lily here. Before we start, let me remind you to always sketch lightly, and you can also lighten your sketches with the use of eraser or a kneaded eraser, so that you won't find it hard later on to erase it while you are already doing your watercolor painting. So this video may take up to 2 hours in actual speed, so in some parts I will be speeding it up to at least 16 or 20 times, but in some parts I will be discussing, and that's the time I'm gonna be returning it to normal speed. So I think we're ready to start. So the first part for me is I will be wetting the background of the flowers, and I will be coloring that part first. So for our background in this side, I'm using a combination of turquoise, dioxazine purple, quinacridone rose, and Indian yellow to achieve a purplish or a grayish color. And and it looks something like this. So let's do the background. So now that we're done in our background, now we're ready to color our flower, our lotus. And looking back in our reference, we can see that the color of the petals are not actually blue, but it's more of a purple or a very light purple with a touches of pink. But you can also see that the shade of the purple is on the cool side. So let's do this. And for the first petal, let's try making this very light wash. You can also notice that, yeah, as the petal goes to the tip, to the base, it becomes warmer, or it becomes pinker, and that is more evident in the bigger or the older petals. So the petals at the base, because it's the same case here to this petal and to this. So for that, we're gonna be using our quinacridone rose mixture. So now that we're done in our petal parts, let's now proceed to the middle part, which is yellow. I don't know, I don't remember anymore if it's the pistil, the stamen, whatever. But yeah, let's start with the center part. So now we're through with our first flower. Now let's proceed to the second flower, and we'll be applying the same techniques that we did in our first flower. So now that we're done with our flowers, we now go to the bud. So for the bud, I'm again wetting the paper first, and then I'm gonna be using the same colors that I used in the flowers and blend it with green. So now, while waiting for the bud to dry for few adjustments, let's now color the stems. And for that, I'm gonna be using the mixture of green that we have and mute it down with purple. because the blue lotus stems are actually dark in color. So for that, we are targeting a deep green, deep brownish green color. So now we're finally done with our floral study number 3, which is a blue lotus or Egyptian lotus. And I hope I gave justice with my reference. It was really hard for me to do the washes because the paper, I think, is not fit for that style. I actually got some, uneven parts here, and I almost damaged the paper, so it's not actually advised. This Phoenix pad is not advised for too much water or layering. So that's one thing I learned in this exercise. And another thing is that yeah, it was the hardest among the 3, but anyway, I believe I learned a lot from this, and I'm still happy overall. Of course, the m.graham paints are no doubt great paints for any subject, and maybe someday I'll be making another Lotus painting, but in a better paper. Anyway, this is just our study, and studies are of course meant for us to get something and learn something from. So that's the whole sense of this exercise. To the person who requested this, Sir Nörtâp Dyólf, or I suppose your real name is Floyd, I hope you're happy, I hope you're satisfied. And for those who would like to request for our next floral study number 4, you can just drop your requests on the comment section, and you can also request for other subjects like in landscapes or portraits, and anything you can think of. If you have suggestions, please don't hesitate to comment it down. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and see you again next week.